Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Rumapal. Welcome you all to Chaitanya Studio of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, Ahmedabad. We are dealing with lecture series of postgraduate diploma in marketing in the subject of brand management. Student, in this book we have 4 blocks. In that 4 blocks we have different kind of units. Today we will learn the block 1, which is the first block. So in this block we will learn the brand, the basics of brand management. What is brand, what is branding, and then what are the competitive forces, right? The first thing that we need to know, that is learning objectives. So after learning this unit, you will be able to understand what are the definitions of brands, introduction to brands, and what are the basics of brands. What are the competitive strategy for market leaders? So the first thing that we need to know, what is brand, right? When this brand word comes, what comes in our mind? That is a name, a slogan, a caption, right? Or a brand ambassador personality, right? So it has never been clear that in this shrinking world, countries and regions and cities have to compete with each other for tourism, for inward investment, for aid, for membership of the supranational groups, for buyers of their products and services, for talent. So there is hardly a place left that is not thinking hard about its brand image, and most are in need of clear, realistic strategies for communicating and promoting themselves, their cultures, their exports, their acts of policies, and their contribution to the global community. So a strong brand is the most valuable asset of many successful companies. Brands are assets because when properly managed, they provide a secure stream of income for the business. It's obvious, right? When the word, when the brand came Chanel, when the Chanel name came, it's what we are feeling. We are feeling a premium quality. The same thing, there are n number of products, right? And this brand always makes the business more profitable because of the valuable assets. They are the valuable assets, and brand are assets because when properly managed, they provide a secure stream of income for the business. So what is brand? So a brand is a name, a term, a sign, symbol, or a design, or a combination of this, or a slogan, or a caption, right? Or a person. It is sometimes a brand is a person also. Brand is like an identity of that company or the individual, right? That is intended to identify the goods and services of one business or group of businesses and to differentiate them from those of competitors. A mixture of tangible and intangible attributes symbolizes in a trademark, which is properly managed, creates influences and generates the value, right? So a successful brand is a identifiable product, service, person, or place, or it can be augmented in such a way that the buyer or user perceives relevant unique added values which match their needs most closely. Furthermore, its success results from being able to sustain these added values in the faces of competition, right? So in a simplistic sentence, if we say what is brand, a product but one that adds other dimensions that differentiate in some way from other product. It in some way from other products designed to satisfy the same need, right? So it is a rational, it is also tangible, a symbolic, emotional, and intangible as well. Why it is tangible and intangible? Because when it comes to the brand, what is tangible, which we can see, which we can touch, which we can feel. But what is intangible, we cannot touch, we cannot feel, right? Even we cannot see. Yes, when it comes to brand name, the brand name call is Zara, the brand name call is a Gap. It's like the brand name is like intangible, you cannot touch, you cannot see. It means the emotional, the symbolic value, the emotional value, the rational value, it comes under this brand. So, the psychological response to a brand can be as important as the physiological response. So, what is physiological response? So, physiological response means the basic things, the basic needs, the basic wants, right? What is required to live our life? That is all about physiological response. But what is psychological response? Psychological response means what we actually feel, what is our want. Like physiological needs means you want a shelter, you want a cloth, you want a food, right? But when it comes to the psychological response means, it means a self-esteem. It means that if you are having a job, you want to be the manager of that job, right? You want a good designation, you want a good money, you want to earn, you want to earn for your family more, or you want to do with wherever you are working, or whatever you are working, you aren't you want something more in that. So that is all psychological response that comes from inner, that we think that we need this, right? So in this way, brand counts as important as the physiological response. In short, a brand is a name, a term, sign, symbol, design, a caption, or some combination that identifies the product of a firm. So, brands are means of differentiating a company's product and services those of its competitors. It's actually the brand is differentiating a mass product, from mass. Brand is different, differentiating from the mass. Why this brand product comes, why this brand? Because there's a plenty of evidence to prove that customers will pay a substantial price premium for a good brand and remain loyal to that brand. It is important, therefore, to understand what brands are and why they are important. So, say for example, if you are taking example of Levi's, okay. So the person who is purchasing Levi's, that person believe that the quality is good, right? So when it comes to the quality, actually brand name, brand, this word brand come, so it comes in your mind, that is a quality. And who are purchasing their product, who are taking their services, it's all about the quality, they are providing the quality. So it's obviously, if a person comes the first time to purchase their Levi's denim, the second time also if the person comes, it means there is a loyalty, right? So the customer loyalty also comes when it comes to a brand. Right. So, say for example, McDonald's sums this up nicely in the following quote, emphasizing the importance of brands. It is not the factories that make profits, but a relationship with the customers, and it's a company and a brand names which secure those relationships. So it means brand is, brand also sometimes they are saying lots of things. Right, they are what they are saying means brand. It's not only the brand. It's not lies to only the company or the manufacturer or the producers. Right, it lies to all the channels. When it comes to brand, it means the customers also involved, because they want the premium quality, or they want their brand. So that's the reason the simple company or the simple product became a brand. Right. So business that invest in and sustain leading brands prosper, whereas those that fail are left to fight for the lower profit available in commodity markets. So here is a diagram from where we can see or we can come to know what is brand. So brands are a means of differentiating a company's products and services from those of its competitors, right? So this is a plenty of evidence to prove that customers will pay a substantial price premium for a good brand and remain loyal to that brand. Already we come to know that how this customers comes to the loyal, right? So here we can see when it comes to the branded markets, it's always high. Either is a price differentiation or the product image differentiation. Say for example, a person who is who is purchasing the iPhone, right? That person as all, if the price discrimination also come, means if the product price is 50,000 or whether the product price is 75,000, that person will always choose, right? Again, we can take another example like a Chanel product, right? The person who is purchasing the Chanel's product, that person will always take the product from them. Either the price differentiation, either the price comes, if it's a low, if it's a high, they will always choose, right? Even the product image differentiation means, if the image also means, a person comes to know that this brand ambassador, when it comes to a brand, there is also brand ambassador, right? So if the brand ambassador done something for that brand, it even the image also gets, somewhere the image also gets in a negative also. But there are few, or there are the loyal customers, they never leave the brand, if the image also differentiate. So when it comes to the branded markets, it's always high, either it's a producer image differentiation or the price differentiation. But whereas comes to the community market, it's a different. So the community market, what happens, in the community market means the mass, right? What happens if the price differentiation, if it's a less, the community market means the local markets, local markets, the local shops. In the local shops, if they will start selling in a higher price, what will happen? Customers may not buy their products. So even there is an image, even their image will get also, if the image also differentiate, what will happen in the local market? Customers may not take their products or services. So if the price differ also comes, or if the image differentiate also, so the commodity markets, it's always be a low, right? Okay, so the next the next that we need to know, that is branding. So till now we come to know what is brand. So brand means brand means a name, a term, or a caption, or a tagline, or a catch line, or it is a slogan, right? So this we come to know. So brand is not only lies to that only one product. Brand is integrated product. Actually, when it comes to a brand means that everyone involves, whether it's a manufacturer or the end users, right? So manufacturer or the producers. So when it comes to brand means it is all together a whole package, right? So now we need to know the branding. So what is branding? So branding means when you are positioning your brand in a marketplace, it comes branding. So this is a simplistic sentence, that when you are positioning your brand in the marketplace, the process calls branding, right? So branding is a business process of managing your trademark portfolio so as to maximize the value of the experiences associated with it, to the benefit of your key stakeholders, especially current and prospective, such as. So when it comes to the branding, actually we already come across that brand means it's a integration of the producers or the manufacturer, right, to the end users. So here is the same thing. When it comes to the branding comes under the branding differentiated in a 8 categories. So the first comes under the employees. It starts from the employees and it it ends with the customer. So it is like the stakeholders of the whole brand. So branding, it's not lies to that only advertisement, right? Means positioning ways only only advertising in a digital media or a print media or a outdoor media. Branding, it's all about, it starts with the employees, right? So employees, then customers, then stock and shareholders, suppliers, then intermediaries, opinion leaders, local communities, and purchasers, and the licenses. So employees, how is employees comes? So take take an example of the Starbucks. What they do, like who are working in Starbucks, what they wear? They wear the same clothes, right? They wear the same clothes and they are promoting brand. What they do, they are promoting brands only, wearing the same t-shirts and same pant with a logo of Starbucks. Again, we can take example of Shopper Stop. What they do, they wear the dress which they wear in the in the office, it always shows the shopper's top. So this is also branding. This is also comes under the branding. So the employees, the more your employees value your brands and understand what to do to build them, the more your customers, suppliers, local communities, and opinion leaders will value them. The more attractive your brands are to potential employees, the more they are likely to want to work for you, right? So if your employees, if the employees they believe that the product which they are selling, the services which they are providing, if they are convinced that this is the best thing or this is the best, and they wants to they wants to communicate with they wants to communicate with their society, so then also it comes under branding, right? The next one, that is a customers. So the more your customers value your brand, the more they will buy your products and services and recommend them to other people. Actually, when it comes to the brand, the most the selling, this word of mouth selling is it's happening the often, because once your customer gets satisfied, what that customer will do, customer will say to more people, customer will say to 10 people, buy this Fab India goods are very good, buy this Big Bazaar product, they are they are providing you a good product with the economic product, or as per your budget they are providing a good product, right? So in this way, these customers, what they do, customers are actually your customers are doing their branding, right? So the next one, that is stock and shareholders. So strong brands multiply the assets value of your company. So the 90% of the assets value of some major corporations lies in their intellectual property, and assure them that your company has a profitable future. Now, the suppliers. So, suppliers like to be associated with strong brands, as this benefits their own reputation in the eyes of the other current or potential customers. You are therefore likely to get better service at a lower total acquisition cost. Now, the intermediaries are those means who who are the middle person. What they do, they are they are acquiring they are acquiring your products from from the manufacturer and the producers, and from them they are they are storing and they are purchasing to the customers. So they are the middle person. So these intermediaries are retailers, distributors, and wholesalers. So this retailers, distributors, and wholesalers value strong brands as they improve their own profit margins. So they are likely to give you more airtime and self space. So when it comes to the airtime means what? Airtime means how many times your advertisement coming to the brand, coming to the print media or the digital media or the outdoor media. This is called the airtime. Means how often it comes, how often it comes, and how often your customers is saying your advertisement, or how often the customers is involving in that advertisement. So this are like airtime. So airtime, it refers to the it refers to the time or refers to the time where when your advertisement comes, right? So now the self space. So self space is like that in in retails. So there we can see the self, right? So so what happen, we can take example of Procter and Gamble. What they do, they they what they do, this price tag, they print their name in all the shelf, and we can see if we if we go for this Big Bazaar also, or if we'll go for Reliance, Reliance Trend also. So what we can see, there is a name, that particular brand name, and what they do, they they are providing their shelf. So this is a self space, right? So intermediaries, what they do, they are they are putting your products in a shelf, and they are giving a space, right? In that way also, if you don't know the name of Corel. So Corel is a brand. They are manufacturing this home utensils, right? So but we don't know that Corel name. So if that retailers or the distributor, what they will do, if if they will put your product in the shelf, and in the eye level, so all the customers will come to know that there is a product called Corel. So in that way, this intermediary is also doing branding for the product, right? So now, thus enhancing future the value of your brands in the eyes of your current and prospective customers. Now the next one in branding, it's a more important, that is opinion leaders. So opinion leaders means the media, the politicians and the non-government organization, or who is giving the suggestions, right, or recommendations. So this also comes under opinion leaders. So you can say the opinion leaders for any brand is like nowadays is a magazine, right? So what they do in magazines, they are writing about your brand. So they are also your opinion leaders, right? So they are more respectful of strong brands. Now even the opinion leaders, sometimes it's happen, the influential person, like say for example nowadays, this we can see this Instagram, in Instagram there are few who are always positioning someone's brand. So this is also, they are also comes under opinion leaders, right? So you can give your product to the to the different people who are very influential in society. So if what they are giving you suggestions, or what they are what they are recommending others, comes under opinion leaders suggestions, right? So they also involved in branding, right? So say for example, in this branding also we can give example like the cricketers, right? What they do, whenever they are saying that what is a success mantra, if they will say I have taken help from this coach, I have taken help from this center. So it comes under the opinion leaders only, okay? And they are, what they are doing, they are branding, they are branding the product, right? Or this is a product, they are branding the services, right? So the next one, that is local communities. So supportive local authorities can make your life easier, effortless in many ways, and offer you better deals if you have a prestigious brands. So the local communities also plays a vital role when it comes to branding. And the last one, that is purchasers and licensees. So the question prospective purchaser and licensees ask is, how much more profit can I get for my products and services sold under this brand than under any brand I might build. So strong brands can be spectacularly valuable. So the next one that we need to know, basics of branding. So tracing the history of branding, branding and the storytelling are actually correlating each other, because when it comes to the brand, a big brand, what they do, they are also they are also involved in storytelling. So the word brand, actually the word brand, when used as a noun, can refer to a company name, a product name, or a unique identifier such as a logo or trademark. In a time before fences were used in ranching to keep one's cattle separate from other people's cattle, ranch owners branded or market their cattle so they could later identify their herd as their own. From that time it has started this branding. Okay, now we are thinking, now in this competitive era, or in this globalization, we are so lucky that we come to know about so many brands, and we can afford also so many brands. But before that, this branding came, so there's a history that we come across, right? Now, the concept of branding also developed through the practices of craftsmen who wanted to place a mark or identifier on their work without detracting from the beauty of the piece. This craftsman used their initials, a symbol, or another unique mark to identify their work, and they usually put these marks in a low visibility place of the product. But nowadays it different, it became different. Now what they do, the brands, their symbol or their unique mark, they or their identify mark, that you can say, they are putting these marks in a in a high visible place of the product. Okay, so but when it started, they used to put this, this unique, this symbol or this unique mark in a low visible place, right? Now, which is very important when it comes to the brand, when it comes to know about the brand management, or when we need to know about the branding, that one thing that we need to know also, that is competitive forces in the market. So effective marketing requires a keen understanding of the macro and micro environment. So customers and competitors, competition is becoming intense with every passing year. Companies need to balance their customer and competitors orientation in order to be successful in the first changing environment. So high-end designers, lines such as Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, then Gap, then Chanel, right, or the Gucci, Armani. So below, from popular to lower price private labels such as JC Penney, Arizona, Sears. So say for here also we can give example for Milton, we can give example for Bodo Sale, one sided by traditional and entrenched brands such as Wranglers and Urban Lease, and from the other side by hip youthful lines such as American Eagle, Bugle Boy. Like here we can give example like Maybelline, then like Lakme, right? To effectively devise and implement the best possible brand positioning strategies, companies must pay keen attention to their competitors, right? Markets have become too competitive to just focus on customers alone. So this, for understanding this competitive forces in the market, so Porter's, Michael E. Porter's, what he has done, he has written a book called Competitive Strategy Technique for Analyzing Industries and Competitors. In 1980s, he has written something for this, competitive forces, how this competitive forces, comes in the market. So he has developed a new idea. He has developed a theory that we know as a Porter's five forces model, and this Porter five forces model is widely used to analyze the industry structure of a company as well as its corporate strategy. So Porter identified five undeniable forces. You cannot deny those forces. Those forces place in market, and because of those forces, a simple product comes, a simple product, from a simple product to a brand name comes, right? So one cannot deny these forces. So there are five forces that Porter has identified and he has written in his book, so that play a part in shaping every market and industry in the world, with some caveats. So the five forces are frequently used to measure competition intensely, attractiveness and profitability of an industry or a market. So there are important key points that we need to know about Porter's five forces model. The first thing, that Porter five forces is a framework. It's a framework that he has developed. It's a framework for analyzing a company's competitive environment. Environment, when it comes to the company's environment, it comes under macro environment and the micro environment. What is macro environment and micro environment? It comes under the political environment, right? It comes under the economical, it comes under the social, it comes under technological, it comes to the socio-technological also it comes. So this this Porter's five forces it will analyze this this competitive environment, right? So the number and the power of a company's competitive rivals, potential new market entrants, the suppliers, customers and substitute products influence a company's profitability. So five forces analysis can be used to guide business strategy to increase competitive advantage. So here we can see from the diagram. So you can see this diagram, that Porter's 5 forces chart. Okay, so there are 5 forces. The first one, what Porter has identified, that is the bargaining power of a customer. So customer means the end users who are purchasing the product, right? So they are having also bargaining power, right? So they can change the market as per their wish, as per their willingness, right? So there is a bargaining, so it comes the bargaining power of a customers. Another one, that is bargaining power of suppliers. So who are supplying the product, means who are supplying the product, it could be a producers itself, it could be the intermediaries, right? So they are also they are having also bargaining power. So according to their bargaining power of the suppliers, they can change the market. Okay, another one that he has identified, after intensive research, that is threat of substitute. So there is a threat of substitute as well. So we will learn, definitely we'll later on we will learn that what is threat of substitutes. Another one that he has identified, that is threat of new entrants, means the new entrants in the competition, this also comes under the threat. So he has identified this threat of new entrants. If the threat of new entrants comes in your market, the market may have changed, right? So in this way, he has identified these 4 threats. And after these 4 threats, there is another one important threat, that is, it's not a threat, there is another important framework or important dimension that he has cited, that is competitive rivalry within an industry. Within an industry means the industry where that product is comes under. Say for example the sales industry, say for example the production industry, right? Say for example the clothes industry, right? Say for example the hospitality industry. So this competitive rivalry within an industry, right? So he has defined this, he has actually suggested these 5 forces. These 5 forces can change the marketplace, that these 5 forces can change the market, as per their wish, as per their willingness. So these 5 forces is, the first one, that is a bargaining power of customers. The second one, that is threat of a substitutes. Third one, threat of a new entrants. Fourth one, bargaining power of a suppliers. And then competitive rivalry within an industry. So here we can see, so competitive rivalry within an industry, you can see that all the threats, like the 4 threats, it's always forcing to this competitive rivalry within an industry. So what is competitive rivalry within an industry? Means it's a number of competitors, number of competitors in the market, then quality difference, then other difference, then switching cost, right? Then customers loyalty, here customer loyalty also comes, right? So the next one, that is threat of new entrants. So threat of new entrants means the threat of new entry. Okay, so time and cost of entry, the specialist knowledge, right? It's requires specialist knowledge, the economics of scale, then cost advantage, then technology protection, barriers to entry. We will learn each and every forces, we will learn each and every forces in detail. So now I'm just defining that what comes under this all 5 forces. So the supplier power, it's like a number of suppliers, size of suppliers, uniqueness of service, and your ability to substitute cost of changing. The another one, that is buyer power. So number of customers, size of each orders, differences between competitors, price sensitivity, then ability to substitute, cost of changing. This also comes under buyer power. So now we will see in detail. We will learn in detail of all the 5 forces, right, which is given by Porter's. So the first one, that is competitive rivalry within an industry. So competitive rivalry within an industry means the force is the major determinant on how competitive and profitable an industry is. In competitive industry, firms have to compete aggressively for a market share, which results in a low profits. Rivalry among competitors and entails when there are many competitors, exit barriers are high, industry growth is a slow or negative, then products are not differentiated, can be easily substituted, then competitors are of equal size, and then low customer loyalty. So competitive rivalry within an industry, we can give example for any automobile sector. So any automobile sector means it may have a Maruti Suzuki, it may have a Toyota, right? What they do, it may have a Mahindra. There also comes under automobile sector. Even the MG also, right? What they do, even the Tata, Tata also comes under. So these are the rivalry forces, so these are the rivalry forces makes the others, other company or the other brand to do such kind of activities which may differentiate it from them, right? So the say for example Hyundai, they have started with the Hyundai i10 i20, because when this after this Hyundai i10 i20, this Tata also they have started with the Tata Nano. So all these are competitive rivalry within an industry, right? So this is actually the easiest one. This we can see, like say for example Imani, Imami men's, men's product range. Then we can see that Fair and Lovely men's, right? So what they or Himalaya men's, so they are coming with a all these companies, what they do, they are providing personal products, personal care products to the women's. So after seeing that this men's group also coming in Imami, they have started with the men's product. So what others brand did, others brand also come up with a men's product, right? So in this way, this competitive rivalry forces comes that which can change the market, right? So here we can give another example. Like before it was a Borosil. Borosil, what they used to produce? They used to produce the crockery, glass crockery, right? So after that, because of this competitive rivalry forces, Milton they used to Milton Trio, they used to come up with this glass glass containers or this glass crockery. So they have also started with a lunchbox, so even Borosil also, they have also started with a lunchbox. So all these are competitive rivalry within an industry. So now the next one that we have came, that is bargaining power of suppliers. Now this bargaining power of suppliers means who are supplying the products. So the suppliers, it may it may the producers, it may the manufacturers, or it may the intermediaries that we know, that it may the retailers, it may the retailers and their intermediaries, it may have the wholesalers as well. So what they are having, this bargaining power of suppliers, strong bargaining power allows suppliers to sell higher priced or low quality raw materials to their buyers. So this directly affects their buying firms profit because it has to pay more for materials. So when it comes to the bargaining power of suppliers, there are few suppliers but many buyers, right? So suppliers are large and threaten to forward integrate. So few substitute raw materials exist. Suppliers hold scarce resources. Cost of switching raw materials is especially high. So bargaining power of suppliers, we can give example for the saris. So the Sabyasachi that we all know, the Satyapal also, they are famous for making sari, right? So what this bargaining power of supplier means, who are supplying the raw materials to them. So they can change, so they can change this market forces. How? Like Sabyasachi products are more about this, the traditional. And when it comes to Satyapal saris or the, or the Ritu's product, right? Manish Malhotra. So they are more, they are in more about this contemporary, right? So this buyers, these suppliers, what they can do, they can take charges more for individuals. Like if they will take charges much to Satyapal, they will take low charges to Sabyasachi. So in this way, bargaining power of the suppliers, it makes a difference in marketplace. Next is bargaining power of buyer. So bargaining power of buyer means here we can give example like buying in a large quantities or control many access points to the final customer. Only few customers exist, then switching costs to other suppliers are low, they threaten to backward integrate, there are many substitutes and customers are price sensitive. So here we can give example like a person who can buy this, buy a Coca-Cola can in the retail shop also, that person can buy this Coca-Cola can even in the even in the vending machine also. So in this way the customer also having the buying power, right? They also can change the market forces. So threat of new entrants, here we can give example like Jio. Before it was in Indian market, when it comes to cell phones, when it comes to SIM cards, so there was a major player was Idea, Vodafone and BSNL, and then Airtel. So what they have done, once Jio came, if the market has changed, now they have taken 60% share of this in this industry. So in this way we can see the threat of new entrants can change the market. So the next one, that is the threat of substitute. So threat of substitute is like a determining factors that are first, if the consumer switching costs are low, second, if the substitute product is a cheaper than the industry product, and then if the substitute product is equal or superior quality of compared to the industry product, the threat of substitute is high. We can give example for threat of substitute is like if a person is like to take the tea, there's a substitute called coffee. Like there's a substitute called actually when it comes to tea, the major substitute is a green tea, right? A normal tea like a milk tea, a black tea and the green tea. So this is like a threat of substitutes it comes. So here is a check of progress like which you can do at your home. So this is like a homework for you. So there's a further readings if you want to know more. So you can you can go through the those books and you can go through. So in that way you can learn. So here we are I am concluding this session. And in this session we have learned what about brand and what is brand, the basics of brand and the branding, how to position the branding. Even we come to know the competitive forces, right? The Porter's has given the 5 forces model, that also we have come to know. So in the next lecture we will learn more about the brand management system. Okay, so till that time, see you soon and thank you so much. Thank you everyone.